Good, happy Tuesday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, Pittsfield police officer charged with assault, stalking. A Pittsfield police officer has been arrested and charged with domestic violence, assault, and stalking, police said. Epping police said Pittsfield police officer Brandon Walker was arrested and charged with simple assault, domestic violence on September 17th, police said. Walker struck his girlfriend several times in the back of her head. He was arrested again Friday and charged with stalking and breach of bail conditions. Police said he violated a protective order by texting his girlfriend. Pittsfield Police Chief Jeffrey Kane said Walker has been on administrative leave since his arrest and will remain on leave while the charges proceed through the court system. This is a developing story that will be updated as more information comes into our newsroom. Husband charged with murder of teacher found dead Saturday. Authorities have arrested a man on suspicion of murdering his wife, a teacher who was found dead on Saturday. Vanessa, husband Andrew, was arrested Tuesday at Revere Police Headquarters on the charge of murder, Suffolk County District Attorney Danielle office said. Revere Police responded to the home at 93 Grandview Avenue at 3:30 p.m. on Saturday after Andrew called 911. They found Vanessa, 30, inside with observed signs of physical trauma. She suffered blunt force injury to the head, sharp force injuries to the neck, and aspiration, the DA's office said. The arrest followed a review of surveillance camera footage, interviews with witness, and execution of a search warrant, the DA's office said. Mary Dale, principal of William P. Conry Elementary School, said Vanessa was a second-grade teacher at the school. She was also a mother of a 1-year-old girl. Andrew is expected to appear in Chelsea District Court on Wednesday from his arrangements. LePage sends letter to sheriffs directing them to cooperate with immigration officials. Let's take a listen to this video from WMTW News 8 in Maine.
Hey, bud, all set?
Yeah, brakes up. Fine. White car's next. Tune-up and oil change.
Bringing into Palmer Spring?
Air conditioning.
We can do that.
Tire rotation.
We do that.
Exhaust.
Absolutely.
Give us a call or visit our website. We do it all.
Steve, we asked the sheriff if he saw the governor's comments as a threat, and he says you can't not see it as a threat, but his job is to protect and uphold the law, and that's including the constitutional law, and he says he'll continue to do that because that is what he's been doing. He says this is not a case against immigration. Instead, this is a case where he's protecting each taxpayer and the law. The sheriff says detainers are not a legal document. It's a request to hold inmates longer than their release date, so ICE agents have time to build a case. But he says if that case isn't built, which has happened in other parts of the country, that opens them up to a possible lawsuit.
We hear about law enforcement officers throughout the country and the thought that we're violating people's rights. Well, here, I'm trying to protect people's rights. And the process of honoring detainers is a violation of the 14th and the 4th Amendment.
We also asked the sheriff if he had received any other complaints involving this, and he says he hasn't heard anything. And as you mentioned, they will continue to hold ICE inmates that have been arrested by agents or if there is a warrant or another court order. We're live outside the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office. Kathleen Jordan, WMTW News 8.
Okay, and there you go on that report. GOP tax plan could trash the value of two popular tax breaks. Doubling the standard deduction would reduce the use of tax breaks for homeownership and donating to charities. Just 20% of the tax returns currently claim those deductions. Non-profits and home builders worry that having no tax increment would negatively impact real estate and charitable givings. Deals leaking out about the Republican tax reform plan hint while two popular deductions would remain intact, they'd become unless to majority of taxpayers who now take advantage of them. And let's take a look at your stock market right now. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the red and went down. Your S&P 500 index closed in the red and went down, and your S&P 500 closed in the green and went up, and your NASDAQ closed in the green and went up. Republicans, gap healthcare bill. We don't have the votes. Let's take a listen to this video from ABC News.
Hi everyone, I'm Navaz here with continuing coverage of President Trump's press conference there in the Rose Garden with the Prime Minister of Spain. I want to jump right in with some breaking news headlines we can bring you now. Let's go live now to Washington, D.C. My colleague Rick Klein, ABC's political director, and Mike Levine join us from there. And over at the Senate, we've got Serena Marshall with us as well. Rick, I want to go to you first on something we've just learned now. We know the Republicans' multi-year effort to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, is over for now. So what's next?
Well, the bill is dead, but this zombie will not die, and there will be new attempts to resuscitate this as part of the next budget resolution. They could push forward the deadline, but this was inevitable given where the votes were. We saw a succession of Republican senators come out and say they opposed it. This is strike three, but it's not baseball. They could get more strike. They can get themselves another at bat. And I think we haven't seen the end of it yet, but for now, and for the foreseeable future, the emphasis is going to be on tax reform. Republicans now hope that will be their big legislative victory, and maybe their...
Okay, there you go on a little bit of that video. Republican leaders won't hold a vote this week on their Obamacare replacement plan, the Graham-Cassidy bill, after 3 members of the Senate said they wouldn't approve the measure. And that did it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow with more great news. Good night, everyone. Bye.